Hey you all, it's Miss Feinstock doing your notes with you today. Miss Cooper and I will both again be on your Zoom like normal, but I'm just going to kind of take the lead on the notes. We are doing translations, which yes, sounds just like transformations. Please do not be that student, although we all do it, who says transformations and translations vice versa. They are not the same thing. Transformations is the movement of really any kind. Translations means you're only sliding. So we're just going to take care of a couple things on this slide. This is not in your notes. This is just kind of going to help you. So vocabulary need to know. Pre-image is the original image before it slid. Then after it slides, it is called the image. So pre-image, image, easy. Another thing I need you to know is this is just a regular A, and this is an A with a tick mark beside it. We call that A and A prime. So we have A prime, and then B prime, and then C prime. Easy breezy. So on this, this is just for those who actually like print their foldables. There is a small cut there to make little doors like a flap. You can pause it if you need to get it cut out. And if not, we are going to move on. So this is our very first image we're going to slide. And it calls the image a triangle because it is. And it is called HJK. And it wants us to slide it 5 units to the right and then 2 units down. And you can't just say, okay, 5 to the right, 2 down. I think it's like right here and just guess. That's not very 8th gradish at all. So we are going to learn how to do it in a way that is going to give us an exact answer, and that is doing 1 point at a time. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take H because it's the first letter, and I'm going to move only H. And so I'm going to go 5 to the right, and I'm going to stay on the grid marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to go 2 down, 1, 2. And if you noticed, I never picked up my pen. I just kept moving with it. And that is the new H, so we're going to call it H prime with a little tick mark. And then I can go and do J. Same rules. 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 down, 1, 2. And again, I never picked up my pen. And it is J prime. And then the last one is K. So 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 down, 1, 2, right there. K prime. Some things that you need to know, again, don't pick up your pen mark, and just make sure you're staying on the grid marks. And what I mean by that is you're counting, you're moving, 1 grid mark at a time, and you're staying kind of on the grid marks, the lines. So in Kami, if you're using Kami, it has a line tool, I believe, and I would really like for that to be blue, so let's try that again. The line tool will help you make straighter lines, so it looks like a nice, neat triangle. One thing I need you to note is that when we slide or translate our shapes, we want them to look the same, meaning they have the same orientation. So H is in the same spot, J is in the same spot, and K is in the same spot. It doesn't look like I turned it or flipped it. The orientation has stayed the same. All right, so on the next one, very similar, but it's a quadrilateral, so it has 4 points to move, and it wants it moved 3 to the left and 4 up. So I'm going to do just a couple with you, and then I'm going to kind of let you do some on your own, and I'll pause it on my end, and then you can pause it on your end if you need to. But we're going to move A together first, so 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is going to be A prime. And then B. 1, 2, 3 to the left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it's like right on that little arrow mark. So B prime. And then I'm going to go ahead and get mine finished, and then you can pause yours if you need to get cut up. All right, so this is my quadrilateral. I'm now connecting the dots. You can see that the quadrilateral looks exactly the same orientation. It didn't flip or turn. And it is just a simple slide. All right, so easy breezy. I think hopefully. Now this next section is not in your notes, but it is actually very important because if you have looked at the rest of your notes, they are charts. They are not grid lines. And so we're not going to actually be able to count. Instead, we're going to add and subtract. But as you guys know, adding and subtracting is a very simple, very simple thing that we did in elementary school. You can actually write this on the side of your Kami sheet or on a sheet of paper, but I do think it is an important thing to write down. So we have our x-axis as a reminder and our y-axis. We were moving up and down and we were moving left and right on the grids. But if you don't have a grid, you're going to have to visualize what that looks like in your head, and you're going to have to know what does left and right really mean and what does up and down really mean. So if I were to move, let's say, left or right, what axis would that be on? Hopefully you said the X, because left and right would be right here on your X-axis. So we're going to write X-axis, and it is a left and a right. Now, if you can see the left, if I move to the left, that is going in the negatives. So I'm going to write left. That is a subtraction. And if I move to the right, that is my positive number. So that is going to be a plus. So get that copied down. And that leaves us with our Y's. So our Y's are going to be, I wanted yellow. Let's try that again. Our Y's are going to be our ups and our downs. So y-axis is going to be up and down. And I bet you can kind of figure it out. If I go up, that is definitely the positives. And if I go down, that is definitely in the negative. So if I go up, I'm going to add. If I go down, I'm going to subtract. Please pause here, re-watch if you didn't understand that. But once you're ready, let's go ahead and move on. So example 3, like I said, you don't have the grid marks. So you are actually going to be using the table to fill in all the information. Okay, so what I did is actually went ahead and filled out the information that we were given. So we know it's a triangle. D, E, F are the vertices, which are the points. The pre-image is listed, and then the new image, we're not sure of those points yet. But if you'd like to pause, go ahead and fill this out and then get caught back up with me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. This middle column that I've left blank, please know that this chart is going to look a little overwhelming at first, but this middle column is not going to be something that you have to write down all the time. It's actually something we're only going to do in notes today, and Miss Cooper and I, we kind of just do it out loud or in our heads normally for class. But again, we're going to do it for notes today just so that we're all on the same page and we understand. So we know that the image is going to need to be moved 7 units left, 3 units down. And on the prior page, we talked about what that meant. So we're going to set up what we know now is the rule. So left and right are our X's, and up and down are movements on the Y. So if it's going to go left, we said that that is going to be a negative, so it's going to go -7. And if it's down, that's also a minus, so that's going to be -3. So that means we're going to take all of our X's, and we're going to -7, and we're going to take all of our Y's, and we're going to -3. And we're going to write that out here, but again, we don't have to in the future. We can do it in our head. So left 7 or -7. I hope you guys are hearing that. You can hear that I'm at the school, that there are announcements going on, even though y'all aren't here with us. But we're going to take our X on this column, which is right here. It's a D, and it's 3, and we're going to -7. And then we're going to take our Y, which is a 1, and we're going to -3. So our new D, if I were to do it, that would be 3 - 7. That is -4. I hope you said out loud, not regular 4. And then 1 - 3 is -2. So we're going to go to the next one, E. And I am going a little slow so you guys can get this down and understand it. But we're going to take our x and we're going to minus 7. So 5 and then minus 7. And then our y and minus 3. So that would be 6 minus 3. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. And then on to our last one, F. So take your x and minus 7. So that's going to be 5 minus 7 again. And then our y is negative 1. So negative 1 minus 3. So that's going to be 5 minus 7 is negative 2 again. And negative 1 minus 3. People miss this all the time. Negative 1, take away 3 more. You're further in the negatives. That's negative 4. All right, so we're going to do this again and practice it on the next one, but pause it if you need to, please. All right, guys, so last example we have, it is a quadrilateral, and I'm going to go ahead and set up my chart, and then we can kind of go through it together. All right, so I've got mine set up. Obviously, if you need to pause me, go ahead and pause me now. All right, so we are going to move it 3 units to the right, 6 units up. So as we've talked about before, that is a rule. And so let's go ahead and write down in here in the rules. So we've got our x and our y. If we are moving to the right, that is on the, hopefully you said x, that's the x-axis, and it is a plus, and it wants us to move 3 to the right. And then to go 6 units up would be on our y, and that would also be a plus. So plus 6. My pen is not letting me write very well. All right, so I'm going to do this first one with you. So our x would be negative 2. So that would be negative 2, and to go to the right, 3 would be plus 3. And then we're going to do our y, and our y is, well, you know what? Let me make sure it looks like the other ones, and we did not have it separated like that. So let's try that one more time. So it was plus 3, and we had a comma. And so the y is 1. You can see it right here, 1. And we're going to do plus 6. That is the rule. So negative 2 plus 3 is 1. And 1 plus 6 is 7. So the new point would be 1, 7. So I'm going to go through, finish the rule on the rest. All right, so here's mine. Again, pause it if you want to get caught up. And then we are going to continue. So 3 plus 3 on this end line, I'm right here, is 6. And then 1 plus 6 is 7. So the new point is 6, 7. And then 2 plus 3, 5. And negative 2 plus 6, 4. And then last one is q prime. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And then negative 2 plus 6 is 4. So again, we figured out using math, not using a grid line, that the old MNPQ is now M prime, N prime, P prime, and Q prime with the new points. I hope this makes sense. If not, please make sure you're coming to our Zoom session. We'll do attendance and all of that, and we will take all of your questions. See you soon.